The tale of Henry Plummer is one of the most chilling contradictions of the Old West. In the dusty boomtowns of Montana, justice was a rare commodity, and lawmen were seen as the final barrier between chaos and civilization. Plummer embodied that image perfectly: charming, intelligent, and persuasive. In 1858, he rose to prominence as a respected sheriff, tasked with protecting miners and settlers who had poured into the frontier in search of gold and fortune. Yet behind his polished badge and smooth reputation lay a darkness no one suspected. The very man sworn to enforce law and order was also the secret leader of a ruthless gang of outlaws who terrorized the very people he vowed to protect. Plummer's beginnings seemed ordinary enough, but his ambition always ran deeper than appearances suggested. Born in Maine in 1832, he drifted west during the gold rush, quickly adapting to the harsh life of miners and fortune seekers. On the surface, he cultivated an air of decency, earning trust as a man who spoke of fairness and morality. By the late 1850s, he carried himself as a model citizen. But behind the mask of civility, Plummer harbored a growing taste for power and control, and soon his name became entangled with whispers of violence, theft, and shadowy dealings. Those whispers, at first dismissed as frontier gossip, would prove to be horrifyingly true. The legend of Plummer's gang, later known as the Innocents, still stains Montana's history. They were anything but innocent, a brotherhood of killers and thieves who preyed on travelers, merchants, and gold prospectors. Stagecoaches would vanish, their passengers found lifeless by the roadside, their fortunes stolen. Entire supply caravans disappeared into the wilderness, never reaching their destinations. Locals spoke of highwaymen who struck with military precision, always knowing which travelers carried the most gold and when to strike. What few suspected was that the sheriff himself, the man entrusted with protecting these routes, was the very architect of the terror. Plummer's badge not only gave him authority, but also provided the perfect disguise for his crimes. Plummer operated with an intelligence that made him nearly untouchable. He used his position as sheriff to gather information, overhearing miners' plans and merchants' routes under the pretense of protection. His deputies and allies often doubled as his gang members, creating a web of deceit that stretched across the frontier. To the townspeople, he was quick to offer condolences to widows and fiery speeches about justice after each bloody incident. But to his gang, he was a cold strategist, directing them with ruthless efficiency. This duality, lawman by day, outlaw by night, allowed him to thrive in a lawless land, while the people of Bannack placed their trust in the very man orchestrating their suffering. The turning point came when the body count grew impossible to ignore. Murmurs spread through the mining camps that someone on the inside was tipping off the killers. Too many robberies ended with the same brutal signature: throats cut, bodies discarded, valuables stripped clean. Suspicion lingered around Plummer, but his charm and authority shielded him from direct blame. It was only when survivors began to speak and rival outlaws whispered confessions that the townspeople connected the pieces. The realization was almost too much to believe. Their own sheriff, the symbol of law, was the mastermind of a murderous brotherhood. As fear gripped Bannack, a new force began to rise: the vigilantes. Ordinary miners, merchants, and townsfolk, pushed to desperation, banded together under secret oaths to bring justice where official law had failed. Their message was simple: no more bodies, no more lies. In the dead of winter, torches lit the streets as the vigilantes moved silently, seeking the men responsible. One by one, Plummer's gang members were captured, and their confessions spilled out like poison. They named names, gave details of robberies, and pointed back to the man who had directed them all. The sheriff's mask had finally cracked, and the truth could no longer be hidden. On January 10th, 1864, Henry Plummer met his fate. Dragged from his cell, he begged the vigilantes for mercy, claiming innocence until the end. Some accounts say he offered to prove his loyalty by using his gun to kill his own gang members. But the vigilantes had already made their judgment. Beneath the icy Montana sky, with snow crunching underfoot, Plummer was hanged alongside two of his most loyal deputies. The irony was bitter. The man who once commanded life and death as sheriff now swung lifeless from a gallows, a symbol of betrayal and greed. The story of Henry Plummer remains one of the darkest stains on frontier justice. To some, he was a cunning outlaw who embodied the corruption of unchecked power. To others, a cautionary tale of how evil can wear the face of law. His gang's reign of terror left dozens dead and an entire community scarred, yet it also forged the rise of vigilante justice in the Wild West. In the end, Henry Plummer's name lives not as a hero, but as a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous killers hide behind the brightest badges. And so ends the grim tale of Henry Plummer, the sheriff who hid a noose behind his badge. His rise and fall remain one of the most sinister stories of the Old West. A reminder that sometimes the very hand sworn to protect can be the one tightening the rope. If you found this story chilling, there are countless more like it waiting to be uncovered from the shadows of history. Do you believe justice was truly served, or was Plummer simply a victim of fear and suspicion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the macabre, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who love dark history, and subscribe so you never miss another tale of betrayal, blood, and buried secrets.